What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Bench with Scotty and Corey. I am Corey, and I'm here with my only co-host, the one and only Scotty.
What's going on, folks? It's good to see you guys. I'm glad to see you guys. It's good to see you.
Now, friends, fans, you guys are on the right. You guys are in the right place. You're on the right podcast. Now, if you are watching instead of listening, this is kind of the thing right now. Scotty and I have had some pretty rough time with the trying to get everything figured out as far as film goes. So we're working through that. So right now, you guys have the podcast logo as the background, and you're just gonna have to listen, which is a good thing for those of you that are at work. That way, you don't have to look at us and or feel the need to look at us and admire our pretty faces. So, Scott, what do we have to start off this episode?
You guys, to start off tonight, we are going to review the Packers and Commanders Thursday night football. There is a lot to unpack here, pun intended. I just want to jump straight into this. We'll move right into the major injuries from this weekend or from this week's game. We'll start with the Packer side. Jaden Reed breaking his collarbone. The team is predicting that he will be out 6 to 8 weeks with that injury. Very unfortunate. We hope for a very speedy and healthy recovery from our guy Reed up there in Green Bay. Now, two equally detrimental injuries on the Commander's side. I want to start with Dietrich Wise, number 91 on that defensive line. He was ruled out for the rest of the season with a torn quad. Very unfortunate. We hope D has a very effective and speedy recovery. Hopefully, he can return to football form sooner rather than later. Uh, but another one, and this one's a stinger. This one's a stinger, especially because of his position. Number 30, Austin Eckler, went down late in that game with a torn Achilles. He is out for the remainder of the season. We hope that he is able to recover from that injury as well and return to football form because we love Eckler. He's a fantastic leader. He's an ingenuitive person. He's dynamic. Even at his age, he's still very dynamic. And I think he's a really good mentor for someone like Bill Krosky. I feel like that's someone you want in your running back room for veteran leadership. Speedy recovery and all the love and prayers to those guys, and hopefully they get back to football shape.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, let's delve into your exact thoughts, which we talked about just before going live, on Austin Eckler's injury. What do you think is the recovery time? Do you think he will be able to return to football, or will this be something that splatters the cake at the end of his career?
With today's sports medicine, there is obviously a possibility for just about everything, including at his age, returning from a torn Achilles. It's going to require, my guess, between 9 and 12 months, maybe up to 15 months, just depending on how his recovery goes. We saw this recovery with Aaron Rodgers. He recovered rather quickly. Um, but his position does not require quite as much as far as cuts on your legs. That does not have the same strain on your lower extremities that running back obviously does, and especially the style of play that Austin Eckler has. I have him out for at least the next 9 to 12 months, possibly 15. Um, if he's able to return at all, we are hoping that he will be able to as fans. I'm sure the organization is hoping that he will be able to and continue to contribute, or any organizations that may have interest in him, as he was only signed for a 2-year deal here in Washington. So We are hoping for all good things. I am fairly confident we can speak for all Commanders fans when saying this. Hoping for all good things in Austin Eckler's recovery because I know that he's a fantastic guy. He's good for the community, and I think he's really, really good for that running back room.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. I mean, we've seen Aaron Rodgers come back from one. Now, granted, his role in football is a little less contact than someone like Austin Eckler's would be. And moving on to Deatrice Wise Jr., who is now 31 years old, actually turns 32, I do believe. Or no, he just turned 31. I'm sorry. Um,
Correct.
and so with a torn quadricep and being 31 years old, I have to ask the same question, which I assume is gonna pose a relatively same answer. With more sports medicine is come so far since Joe Theismann's career, where he had and many others have had career-ending injuries. But being that he is on the defense, how do you think that this injury shapes up?
I have this injury at a minimum of 12 months recovery time, possibly more, not just given his age and his position, but the manner in which it happened. If you watch that game, the way that he collapsed and the way that he was physically shaking on the field, you can see that this injury was truly worse than what it probably seemed to us fans when it happened. I was watching some I was watching some film on the game, and you can see him physically shaking. Obviously, some of that definitely emotion, a lot of pain. He was not moving his leg once they put him on the cart. Um, Towel over his head. But here, really quickly, we're going to speak to the continuity and the brotherhood on the Commanders. Every single player on that roster that was in attendance for that game
Hmm.
came up to him and paid him some love. Everybody on the defense, everybody on the offense. He has been such a good influence on that entire locker room. Uh, and it shows. It shows. That's a brotherhood in Washington that they have. And I have faith, especially with it being a quad. And here's why I have faith in a successful recovery from a quad injury, regardless of his position. Outside of the sport of football, we saw um, we saw Triple H from the WWE recover from a torn quad in just south of 8 months, and he came back to a sport that requires just as much, if not more, physical legwork. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of um, physical therapy. There's this, but sports medicine, even now, 20 years later from that, is top of the line. The physical therapy is going to be incredible. I think we do, in fact, see Dietrich Wise next year on an NFL football field.
That is good to hear, especially as Commander fans. However, if you are an opponent such as Philly, Dallas, Giants, and anyone else in the league, that is not good news for you. Because I'm sure he's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder, and I'm sure he's just going to throw down when he gets back. Again, hope
Absolutely.
for hope for speedy recoveries for both of these gentlemen, all three of these gentlemen, and we should move on, shall we?
We absolutely should. We absolutely should. I want to parlay directly into the performance or lack thereof, especially in the first half of Thursday night's game for Washington's offense. Um, the Green Bay Packers had 212 passing yards at the halftime break, and Washington, I believe the stat was, had 43.
Yeah.
the the Green Bay defense was all over this Washington offense all day, and it felt to me, now this is just a fan's opinion, but I have heard countless experts say this. It felt to me like Cliff Kingsbury called this game extremely safe, extremely cautiously. He called it like he was not trying to beat the Green Bay Packers, but like he was trying to get out of Green Bay.
Hmm.
I personally think that the the damning stat for me is that Washington had three players rush the football. Uh, Bill Krosky Merritt, Austin Eckler, and Jaden Daniels, 17 yards each. The offensive line was getting pushed around. They were not leaving in tight ends. Also, a notable injury from this game. John Bates was not seen in the second half. As Washington's blocking tight end, that would be a huge blow if he is out for an extended period of time. We will hear more about that on Monday from head coach Dan Quinn. But the big thing to me was how conservative the pass game was when it was not when there was not a running back in the backfield. They had a lot of faith in that offensive line. Josh Connerly is going to have he's going to have growing pains. The rookie now right tackle out of Oregon, first round draft pick. He's traditionally a left tackle. It's what he played in high school. It's what he played in college. It's all he's known. He's given up some pressures and some sacks in his first two games. He's going to have growing pains. I like the decision to keep him in this game. I like the decision to get him that experience. However, I like a little bit more to see help for him. A blocking tight end, a running back to stay in, to give Jaden Daniels that time to find his receivers down the field. As everybody knows who watches the NFL, whenever you play a primarily zone defense like the Green Bay Packers, you have to have a good pass rush, and they have probably a top 3 pass rush in the NFL at this moment. That's huge. And whenever you play the style of offense that the Washington Commanders do play, you also have to be able to sit back and allow your offense to develop. You have to allow the routes to develop. You have to find the holes in the zone. And they were just getting to Jaden, even only pressuring with 4. So fast all night. Not a running back or a tight end left in to help against Micah Parsons when he was lined up over Josh Connerly. Not a lot of stuff beyond the line of scrimmage. I think the stat was 71% of Jaden's 42 attempts were within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage or behind it.
Absolutely, and I agree, man. You can't have these people not be switching out. Like I think I seen Bill 3, 4, 5 times. Uh, Actually, I'll up that number. I think I seen Bill maybe a total of 10 times, and only 4 times he rushed that ball. Whereas you've seen Eckler on the field all night long, and nothing was done. For example, just to put a stat to it, Bill rushed 4 times for 17 yards. Austin Eckler rushed 8 times for 17 yards. Now, at no point did they put Bill in. Bill was getting 5 yards, 4, 5, 6 yards every run. And for a defense like theirs, he was blowing through them. And it was just something nice to see because you got a young kid like we talked about back on Wednesday. He's just so good. Why would you not switch him in and out, especially on a short week like this one? You take him out, you take Eckler out, you put Bill in. Maybe Eckler doesn't get hurt in this game. Maybe, especially if you're losing like we were in the fourth, why is Eckler in? Give the young kid some reps. And to counter that, so many times I've seen a camera pan to Jaden Daniels, and for some reason he looked like a deer in headlights. He looked like he didn't know what to do, and it almost looked as if he knew the plan was not to go and win, but to go and get out. You know what I mean? It's like he could feel it. And I don't know if that was, the pressure of the game or if it was just him knowing that that's the plan. Maybe maybe Cliff said it. Maybe maybe he just got that vibe by the way they were training, uh, practicing up until this game. But Jaden just didn't look like he was in it. And I think it starts there. I think it starts with, Cliff and then trickles down to Jaden because Jaden is the leader of the offense right now. He's the guy that everybody turns to look at, and he's a wonderful leader. So if he's not feeling it, no one else is going to feel it either. And I absolutely agree with you on leaving Connolly in because he needs to get the reps. He needs to get used to being in the NFL, used to these big D linemen, and who better to put him in there with than none other than Rashawn Gary and uh, Micah Parsons. That is great experience right there to be able to block those guys. Now, granted, they were all over Jaden Daniels. I think he had 4 sacks. He got sacked 4 times, and I think 2 of them were on Connolly's side, which we both knew the Green Bay Packers were going to exploit with him being so young and having a fantastic rush defense that they have. But
Ab-
you didn't have
Absolutely.
anyone else in there to help him. You didn't put um, Ertz in there. You didn't put Bates in there. You didn't put any of these guys in there who block or who can help him block. So I think that's the problem on the offense, and in my personal opinion, and just from watching the game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A couple of more notes for the fans here. The big catch in my crawl is having rookie wide receiver Jalen Lane in there on a 4th and 4 when the game is still winnable and you run a slant to him instead of your arguably best slant guy. And he was sitting on the sideline, and this irks the absolute fire out of me, especially seeing how you just gave this man such a big payday. Why are we not using Terry McLaurin more? He had the better of his 2 games on Thursday night. He did have 9 targets, 5 receptions, 48 yards, along of 14. But he had next to zero impact on this game. And that 14-yard catch was in essentially garbage time. They were driving down with less than 2 minutes to go. Um, and it was essentially meaningless football at that point. No way to stop the clock. Just wanted to keep the score closer than what the game actually was. And it breaks my heart because Terry McLaurin is the heart and soul of this offense. I think the Holden has punished both the offense and Terry in particular as far as his timing with Jaden and things like that. As you see, the guys that were in camp and in practice all preseason, Zach Ertz, Debo Samuel, those guys are getting reps and getting touches and getting in the end zone. That's now a touchdown each game for both Debo and Zach Ertz. I think a long week is going to benefit that connection a lot. Having 10 days between now and the next game, I can only imagine that once they got back to DC, Terry and Jaden, after Jaden's MRI, his MRI came back negative from the best that I can tell. But he did have an MRI on his knee after getting banged up by that defense so very much. So hopefully he is off the injury report come Tuesday, and we won't have to worry about that. But the other problem that I have, and then we have to move on, is how poorly this defense played and namely the secondary, because the secondary looked like the strongest part of this defense just 4 days prior in Washington against that New York Giants team. A New York Giants team that has guys like Darius Slayton and Malik Nabers. Those are star guys. Malik Nabers, a first round draft pick, and Darius Slayton, a longtime veteran, known for his route running abilities and known for creating space where there is none. This did not look like the same defense. Tucker Kraft went absolutely wild. 6 receptions for 124 yards and a score. It was, it was, it was, it was not ideal. It was not ideal at all. So kudos to the Packers. They absolutely dominated this game. The scoreboard will not show that. I think Matt LaFleur has a ton of respect for Dan Quinn as a coach coming off of um, that coaching tree as well as the uh, Sean McVay coaching tree. So there's a lot of stuff that I feel like played into this, and a little bit of humility and respect kept this score from being what very well could have been a 42-10 game.
Absolutely, dude. And like we talked about earlier, I do not agree with on a short week resting all the time that the defense did. And that is such a double-edged sword because not only are you resting and not practicing for this game, but why not just wait until after the game where it's a 10-day break between games and then you can rest. Let's say they waited. You can rest the rest of Thursday night after your game, after you get home. So you got Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, hell, even Monday night if you really feel like it. Just a 4-day break that you could have rested instead of taking the shortest time that we have to prepare for one of the best defenses in the league and one of the better offenses in the league as well, and practice to rush this offense. Now, they looked sloppy. They were running into each other. The D backs were. They were losing their assignment. Like it just overall looked like this defense was worn out from the start, and they just weren't ready for this game at all, and it showed. And that goes for the offense as well. And I completely agree with your point on Terry McLaurin. We haven't really seen him. The few times we do, I jump out of my chair, hey Terry, but we just don't really get to see him. Not much last week. I think he had 27-ish yards last week,
Yes,
48
yeah,
this
seven
week.
receptions. Yeah, 7 receptions for 75 yards for the statisticians in the chat.
Yeah. So this game really it falls on both shoulders of the offense and the defense because both played poorly. Now, this 15 points in the fourth quarter, that is garbage time football. That is the only reason we got that. I know that Micah Parsons was upset because they kept pulling him from the game, but I kind of understand because he still has an iffy back. However, in the time that he was in, he caused so many problems that I'm kind of glad that he wasn't in the entire time. So, but that's just my take, man. I just need them to practice on short weeks like this. I don't know if we play one Thursday night game a year or if it's multiple. I think it's just one.
Yeah,
Um,
just one.
and then is it the same for Monday night as well?
I think we have 2 Monday night games this
Okay, so
season.
it's not the same. Okay, so but yeah, so it's just if we can just get get the practicing part of it down, prepare for this team and not try to rush through the game. I hope it's over already. Come on, let's go. Not do that. Then this is a much closer game. And we talked about that on Wednesday that this was going to be a much closer game that we trusted in this team. We trusted in Cliff Kingsbury. And visually, at the end of the game, you could see, towards the end of the third quarter, you could see the visual frustration from Dan Quinn because everything was happening. And there's actually one instance in particular that I want to talk about. It's forcing Washington to call a timeout when your ref would not get out of the way. I seen that, and let me tell you, I've never. Now, granted, it was garbage time football, but still, that really takes the wind out of our momentum. It takes the wind of the team. Like we're going, things are feeling smooth, and you just stand there and force us to take a time. Get out of the way. Do your job. There were so many times that, now granted, it might be a little bit biased, but it's just so many times that I felt we were given a penalty when it wasn't warranted. There's the old saying that you can call a holding call in every play, and it just felt like we got holding calls on big plays. There was a time that Micah Parsons sacked Jaden Daniels, and we both know Connerly held that man almost by his helmet, and no flags were called then. But if we throw a 40-yard bomb, there's a holding call. I think it's a lot of mixed things. I hate going to Green Bay. I love Green Bay football. I hate playing against Green Bay. I really do. But just for a little bit of a stat, real quick, in 2022, October 22nd of 2022, I believe that's prior. That's Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder's Commanders.
Yes, that is the Ron Rivera, Dan Snyder era
We
Washington Commanders.
we beat the Packers 23-21. If that team back then with Dan Snyder and Ron Rivera can beat the Packers 23-21, this team that is 100 times better can demolish the Packers, even in their current state with two guys out. This game is still much closer if we prepare for it correctly. I really do believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. Because there is just no reason for Jaden to have 24 completions out of 42 attempts and only 200 yards and being sacked 4 times. That just doesn't happen. So
Absolutely.
I just it's just a disappointing game for me. Real upset with it. Um, that's really all I have to say about it. Green Bay kicked our butt.
And much love and respect. And then we're going to our pick'ems. It is a short episode tonight. Much love and respect to the Green Bay Packers team, staff, facility, and fans for being just class act all the way around. Zero trash talk from your average fan. You have your stragglers. Every fan base has those people who will talk garbage regardless. But 99.9% of Packers fans that I have come across in the couple of days since this game have just been humble, respectful, and willing to admit that this Washington team looked unprepared and they did not play up to the talent that is on this roster. To quickly touch on the forced timeout, rules analyst Terry McCauley for Amazon Prime Football, Thursday Night Football, said that the defense is given a reasonable amount of time to change personnel once offense has declared their personnel at the beginning of the play clock, because the play clock does not run until the offense has declared their personnel. So, for this referee to hold hostage an entire play, a reasonable amount of time is 8 to 10 seconds. And I understand that Washington is on the goal line and it takes a lot of time to get guys onto the field. At that point, it should have been forced for the Packers to take the timeout, not Washington. To me, personnel situations like that, if you want to change your personnel, that you have X amount of seconds on the play clock to do that It's a rule that will probably be reviewed after this particular instance. But it did cost momentum. I am not a rules expert. But Terry McAulay did say that it took way longer than it should, regardless of where they are on the field. But
Absolutely. I
good
agree.
game by the Packers. A subpar game by the Commanders by all standards. That was definitely not the offense or defense that we saw last week. But enough about last week, enough about Thursday. Let's move on to tomorrow night's slate of games. We're going to do a really quick pick 'em, y'all. And we're going to start with the Los Angeles Rams and the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, dude.
How are you feeling about this game? They are playing in Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee.
Well, I can tell you now that I feel that the Rams are definitely winning this game. I just don't feel that Cam is ready to lead that Titans team. I don't think much has been able to change since last week in their loss, but I think the Titans got this one in the bag. You got a guy who just got his 60,000th yard. I'm sure it's 60,000 plus. Um, out of Matthew Stafford, and I think he's pumped up. I think he's gonna continue to lead this team further. I think he's gonna continue to just again ball out at his ripe old age. Um, he's honestly done really well since leaving the Detroit Lions. He's done better than I definitely would have thought of, being a career Lion for most of his well, basically all of his career except for the last what 3, 4, 5 years.
5 years, yes.
Yeah,
This is his now sixth year with the team. That trade going down in his fifth year with the team. That trade going down in 2021.
yeah. So uh, Matthew Stafford has 245 yards. What the heck is his first name? It ain't Matthew. Hold on. Wait, maybe it is. Why is this? Okay. The NFL.com has Matthew's first name started with a J. So I was confused.
Is that Matthew with an N? No, sir. That is Matthew with a J. Okay, Jim. Okay, Jim Matthew. It is your turn.
Jim Matthew. But yeah, Cam Ward is just not ready. I don't think this Titans team. However, the last time they were out, it was 28-16 Titans back in 2021, November 7th. But again, I just Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and then basically,
Devontae Adams.
yeah,
Devontae Adams out there in LA as well.
Devontae Adams, and basically a healthy team. I mean, there's only one guy that did not participate this week on their side, and that is none other than Steve Avila, who is a guard. Now, I don't think that poses too much of a threat because it is the Titans. Given, we'll continue to follow that throughout the rest of this week and find out. And also, Colby Parkinson did not practice today either, or yesterday either. He's a tight end. Again, I don't think that's going to pose too much of a problem. So that's my take on it. I feel that the Rams are going to win. I would even call it something like 21-7.
All right. There you have it, folks.
I'm
Corey
actually
is
going to write that
calling
down.
this game 21-7 in favor of the Rams. I agree with the verdict here. That defense of the LA Rams, granted at home, absolutely stifled CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans last week. I think they do the exact same thing to Cameron Ward and the Tennessee Titans. I do not think that um I don't think it's going to be that big of a score differential. It will be close to that, though. It will be close to that. I am calling this game 31-21. I think the offense does get going for those fellas out in Tennessee, especially being at home. being in Nissan Stadium is going to help a ton. I think Cam Ward gets past some of the jitters, but that Rams team is very talented. It's really good. And safety Cameron Curl, formerly a Washington Commander, is playing some of the best football of his life right now. I think that makes a huge difference. He can disguise, he can blitz, he can make you make mistakes, especially as a young quarterback. So I see this game 31-21 in favor of the Los Angeles Rams. Moving along, we have our next game. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. How are you feeling about this one, Corey?
Well, Scotty, I got to tell you, both of these teams coming off a win, coming off a hot win. However, I think that the Bengals had a little bit of a tougher game, believe it or not. Not something that you nor I predicted, but I just feel like that the Bengals definitely had a tougher game against that Browns defense. The last time they met, 34-31 Bengals. Now, and that was this December 4th, 2023. So an end of the year kind of thing where everybody's in full swing. This is still the beginning of the year, folks. It is still they still have rust. They're still trying to figure out their offense, how everything's working against their defense. Still making adjustments. Still fitting people in. But I do think that the Browns pull off another win, another close win here. I do believe. I'm scoring this one 24-21 Bengals.
Oh, what was that score again?
24-21 Bengals.
20. I thought I heard you correctly. I just had to make sure. I have this game going the other way. Corey, I got to tell you, I really liked. Now, granted, not as tough of an opponent in the Carolina Panthers did the Jacksonville Jaguars have versus the Cleveland Browns for the Cincinnati Bengals, but I liked what I saw out of that team. Defense played well. The offense looked like it had some gumption to it for the first time in a few years. That the team looks talented. It's moving along. They have two very stout weapons on the outside. We have Brian Thomas Jr., LSU product, go Tigers. Um, we also have Travis Hunter, the two-way player out of Colorado, playing primarily wide receiver, which does not surprise me. I honestly thought he would probably get more cornerback reps in his first season, but he is playing so well. I understand why they have him on that side of the ball. He can create separation. So that's going to be very tough for the Cincinnati Bengals defense to deal with. They also obviously have Travis Etienne Jr. And a very budding, very strong offensive line from what I saw against the Carolina Panthers. I have a lot of faith in this offense to go to Cincinnati and do something that I don't think a lot of experts are going to predict. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning this game 28-24.
That is a good prediction. That is definitely the opposite of what I have. We'll go ahead and mark that as one that we have in difference. But here's my issue. They had an easier team to play. That's the only reason that I'm giving this one to the Bengals. The Bengals, as you guys know, played against Myles Garrett and that Browns defense. Offense scores points relatively, defense wins ball games, and that defense down there in the Browns with the Browns, they look stout.
I love that we are indifferent on this one. But moving along, and speaking of those Cleveland Browns, they are going to M&T Bank Stadium this Sunday to take on the Baltimore Ravens in a divisional clash up, the second divisional clash to start this season. How are you feeling about this one, Corey? This one seems like a not so good game, if you ask me. I feel like those Baltimore Ravens have a chip on their shoulder, especially after blowing a 15-point fourth quarter lead against those Buffalo Bills in week one. I don't like the possibility of the Cleveland Browns here.
Absolutely. And just quick question. What did you say the score was for the last game?
It's going to be 28-24 Jags.
28-24 Jags. Okay. Okay. So now, here is my prediction for this one, man. I don't want to count the Browns out because last week it almost bit me in my hind end. So I think that the Browns hold their own. Ravens win 30-10. Now here's why. Okay. Now I did put a lot of faith in Joe Burrow and that team last week, but this Ravens offense is stacked. Now, if you look at the comparison, Joe Flacco 290 yards, Lamar Jackson 209. But here's where it gets a little different. King Derrick Henry 169 yards. Running back D Sampson 29 out of 12 attempts. No touchdowns, averaging 2 yards a game, 2.4 yards on average. Jerry Jeudy 66 yards, 5 receptions. Xavier Flowers 142 yards on 7 receptions and a touchdown. Now, I have zero doubt in my mind, not 1%, not 2%, not half a percent, that the Ravens are going to win this game because of their matchup last week. They played arguably one of the best teams in the AFC, and they almost won. They lost by 1 point, and that is a whole separate issue entirely. The Ravens in the second half completely suck. This week, I think they got it in the bag. I really do. Their last time meeting, 35-10 Ravens. And I don't think anything's changed. Actually, I think things may have gotten worse. And that was January 3rd of this year. I think things may have gotten a little worse for them. I don't see things changing at all. Um, so 30-10 for me.
30-10 in favor of the Baltimore Ravens for Corey. That is a lopsided prediction, my friend. I'm going to echo that sentiment. I just think that defense is going to come out with a chip on its shoulder. They're not playing at night. They're not going to have to sit around all day. They're going to show up at the stadium. They're going to prep. They are going to, especially being at home, come out. I think they're going to punch Cleveland in the mouth early and often. I think the Browns hang around this game, though. I really do. They're a tough, gritty, resilient team. Took the Bengals to the wire like only the Browns really can. Uh, I was highly discouraged by that Bengals team last week and the way they played. I was highly encouraged by the Browns, but this is not the Cincinnati Bengals. This offense is more potent. It has all of the pieces to be more potent. I think that it was lazy play by the Bengals. It will not be lazy play by Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. They are going to punch the Cleveland Browns in the mouth to the tune of 38-20.
38-20. Nice. All right, my friend. And moving on a little further, we got a game that hits home for both of us in our division. New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. I'm excited to hear your take on this one, my friend. I'm excited to hear what you have to say here.
If you want the facts are that the Dallas Cowboys have a better roster than the New York Giants. The offense played better against a very tough Philadelphia Eagles defense. That is the defending champs. They did take them to the wire, almost won that game. A lot would argue that had it not been for a lightning delay, I think that was the game.
Yes, it was.
I think it was the Eagles Cowboys had the lightning delay. A lot of people would
Yes, it was.
argue that had it not been for the lightning delay, that the Cowboys would have won that game and upset the champs. I did not like what I saw from the Giants against Washington. Um, the offense looked like it couldn't get separation. The defense was playing lackluster. Washington was essentially keeping them in the game by just silly mistakes and penalties, which head coach Dan Quinn addressed on Monday in his press conference. So I think that it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. They're going to start putting it together. I don't see them overcoming the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants. I have this game at 27-17. I The offense does not get going. Russ, he's playing like he's seeing ghosts. Uh, I just don't have a lot of faith in the New York Giants at this moment. Brian Daboll went from smiling the last week of preseason. The Giants notorious for going 3-0 in the preseason, being preseason champs, and absolutely fumbling since Eli Manning retired in the regular season. I think that continues. I think they start the season 0-2, 27-17 Dallas Cowboys.
I like it. I like it a lot. For me, for me, if you want the
Also of note,
facts,
really quickly, Dak Prescott played better than Jalen Hurts in that game. They've also had a long time to rest. The Giants, not so much. I think this is a motivated Dallas Cowboys team after taking the champs to the wire.
absolutely. And if we're looking at the facts here, both teams lose. Okay, Lightning strikes twice in Dallas. They both lose. Uh, Hell to the Commanders. Um,
Hell yeah.
um, no, but honestly, I agree with you as much as I hate to. As a Commanders fan, particularly for me, I absolutely despise the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone else in the division don't like them, but they're not the Dallas Cowboys. As I have said on the very first episode of this podcast, go back and check it. I have two favorite teams, the Washington Commanders and anybody, and I do mean anybody, playing,
Up to including the Steelers.
including the Steelers. I would also hope that the Steelers won over the Cowboys, but here's the thing. I do think that the Cowboys win this game, and I think it is fairly similar to the same score that we let them have on us. I would say something along the lines of, for me, I would say it's something like, I would say, I'll be generous. I'll say 12-24 for me. Now, in last week's game, uh, Dak Prescott had no touchdowns, no interceptions. Their running back did everything. 15 attempts, 54 yards, 2 touchdowns. And CeeDee Lamb did almost all of the catching for the Dallas Cowboys. 7 receptions, 110 yards. So, for me, and their defensive back, um, Deron Bland, did not practice. He will be out this game as well. So that's one of their key backs that Malik Neighbors is gonna probably exploit whoever his backup if Stephon Diggs is not on him the entire game. So again, 24-12 for me. Cowboys.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like it. And we are moving on. Let's go. Speaking of those Buffalo Bills from a couple of games ago. They are going to travel to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Jets in a divisional game. What do you got here, partner? I'm excited to hear this.
This game's going to be a shootout. Neither one of these teams are extremely known for their defense, but if Week 1 has anything to say about it, they are going to have one hell of a shootout. The Buffalo Bills are number 1 in yards per game with almost 500 yards, totaling at 497 yards per game, and that's all in just 1 week. Just keep that in mind. The Jets are 4th with 394. Um, they have they are 4th in defensive sacks with 4. And here's one of those numbers that I like to see. The Bills have 1 total turnover differential. What that means? Now, that means that out of the total times the Bills have given the ball away and have taken it back, they have taken it back one more time than they have given it away. Now, I don't have the total number that they gave it away and yada yada. I do know that it is that they are ahead. They've taken it back one more time than they have given it away. So yeah, I have it a shootout, and I have the Bills on top again. Mainly in part due to that amazing comeback they had last week. Their defense pulled it together in the second half. Um, that offense really got rolling in the second half. The cardiac Bills. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's another shootout. But I have Bills winning. Um, 35, 35, 35, 31.
Very nice, very nice. I like it. I like it. Both teams riddled with the injury bug at the moment, and you don't like to see it. However, we do have a lot of actives. A lot of people active. Here are the people who are definitely inactive, and I think this is a huge blow to the Buffalo Bills defense. Starting defensive tackle Ed Oliver will not play with an ankle injury. They also have some questionables at some very key spots here. Jordan Hancock, who is their backup safety slash nickel, uh, he is questionable with a shoulder on limited practice all week. Tre'Davious White, longtime standout corner, he is questionable with a groin. He was limited in practice all week. We have Shaq Thompson. That would be a huge blow to that defense if Shaq cannot go. He was limited in practice with a hamstring and a hand injury. And Teron Johnson with a quad. He is also questionable for the Buffalo Bills. But here is the big difference for me, and here's why I don't have the Jets winning. Running back Kene Nwangu is out. Defensive tackle Jay Tufele out. Starting wide receiver Josh Reynolds out. So we also have some bang ups in the secondary, and this does not spell good news for that Jets secondary. Sauce Gardner with a groin was precautionary. He was limited in practice on Thursday. He did go full practice on Friday. Still something to monitor, as well as Michael Carter II. Their nickel, his shoulder is banged up. He is questionable. So some things to keep an eye on. However, I think that this Jets team is just outmatched. I think that Bills defense does exact some revenge for giving up 40 points. I don't think that happens a second week in a row. I do like the Jets offense. I like what Justin Fields is doing. I like Garrett Wilson a ton Actually, he will be starting for me this week after he blew both of my starting wide receivers in fantasy out of the water, and it pissed me off so bad. Um, I like what they're doing there, but it's not enough to overcome a motivated, talented, deep Bills team. I have this game also fairly high scoring. I have this game coming to a tally of 31-28 in favor of the Buffalo Bills.
31-28. I like it. It's a close one. All right, moving on to another divisional game, one where both teams lost. We got the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. What is it that you predict this game will be like this week, my good and faithful partner?
I have the Detroit Lions on a revenge tour. The Chicago Bears are coming to Ford Field. They are playing in the Demon Dome. I do not like that for the Bears. They could not put away the Vikings. The Vikings making an incredible comeback in the second half of that Monday Night Football game. It was beautifully constructed by J.J. McCarthy. An absolute collapse on behalf of the Chicago Bears, being up 17-6 in that game. The Detroit Lions have a lot to prove after that showing against the Packers in Week 1, and I think they prove it right here in Week 2 with the Chicago Bears. They do not lose two divisional games in a row. Um, and I don't think it's particularly close. I think it's going to be 31-21 in favor of the Lions. The Bears are going to fight. But this is a very talented roster, and it's going to perform better in Detroit than it did in Green Bay Week 1.
I have the exact same difference in score, but I have it a little bit more low scoring. I have it 27-17, simply because both of those defenses are probably a little upset at their last games, and I feel like they're both going to be trying very hard to pull out some sort of stop, maybe even try to get lucky. So yeah, that's my thing. I think Aiden Hutchinson does really well, especially in his poor showing week 1. So I have it 27-17 Lions.
I get it. I get it. I like it, and I like it some more. Here is the reason. I do not agree with that. Uh, Kyler Gordon in that Chicago secondary will not go. He is out. That is a huge blow across from Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson will go though, so that is also getting a key piece of your defense back. Uh, but I like it. I'm with you. I think the Lions they like this matchup here. But speaking of divisional games, we are going to move down to Miami, where the New England Patriots are coming to town to take on those Miami Dolphins. Which AFC East team bounces back and get a win here, partner?
I think it's the Patriots. I still think that the Miami Dolphins have a lot to prove here. Now they are going down to Miami, Florida, down to Hard Rock Stadium. I do feel like that this team has a lot to prove. However, the yards per game differential is massive. Um, the Miami Dolphins have given the ball away 3 times. They are dead last in turning the ball over. Tua did not do well. Devon Achane did not do well. Tyreek Hill, who is, from what I understand, even looking for a trade at this point. Now, their last meeting out was 34-15 Dolphins, but I do think Drake May pulls off a win this week. He had a really tough one last week, but again, I attribute that to the week 1 jitters, to the week 1 rust, and I just feel like for sure that he is not going to let that happen again. I feel like Drake May and Stephon Diggs down there will have plenty to talk about. Um, so I don't know, man. I feel like that this is going to be a closer game due to them both being losing teams, but I definitely think that the New England Patriots come out on top, 24-17.
I like it. I like it. I am with you, partner. I do not like the way that Dolphins team played in Indianapolis last week. Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, that Colts team, they did what they wanted. And I see not all of the same, but some of the same with this also highly motivated young Patriots group under the tutelage of head coach Mike Vrabel. I like it a lot. I see this game being slightly lesser scoring for the winning team. The visiting New England Patriots take this game 21-17. I don't have a lot of faith in them shaking whatever Tua saw in week one. This is honestly a make or break game for Tua Tagovailoa. If he does not perform in this game, do they start to consider other options? Who knows? Who knows? But I have them losing this game 21-17 to the New England Patriots.
That's a good prediction. Now, moving on down to New Orleans. Um, we got San Fran versus the New Orleans Saints. Big outings this game. From my understanding, Brock Purdy will not play this game. Maybe even a few others.
Correct. He is
So
being projected to be out the next 2 to 3 weeks, which means we will see Mac Jones, former starting quarterback, up there in New England. We will see Mac Jones taking the snaps for San Fran in this game.
so what I see in this, I see a low-scoring game. I see I see Christian McCaffrey getting all the touches he could ever ask for. He's definitely getting catches or targets. He's definitely getting runs. And I also see Brian Robinson even getting more playing time. It is going to be Mac Jones versus Spencer Rattler, Christian McCaffrey versus Alvin Kamara, dang, um, and Ricky Pearzal, who had 108 yards last week, going up against Juwan Johnson, who had 76. Now, those receiving numbers cannot be attributed fully to this week because of the fact that Mac Jones will be playing and not Brock Purdy. So, I have this, again, either a very low scoring game. I would say that it's San Fran pulling off the win here, 17-14. That is my prediction for the week. And the last time they were out, the 49ers, um, Saints had a goose egg, and 49ers won 13-zip back in 2022. A lot has changed since then, but not so much for the Saints. So again, 17-14, 49ers.
I like it. I like it. I like the winner. I do have more faith in Mac Jones with Kyle Shanahan than I did with Gerard Mayo or Mike Vrabel because Kyle is a mastermind at offense. I think he can scheme his quarterback to be successful. You can see what he has done with Brock Purdy. Does Mac Jones have the intangibles that Brock Purdy does? No, it is a real surprise that Mac Jones went as early as he did, and it's not quite a surprise that Brock Purdy went as late as he did, but I like this matchup. I like this matchup for two reasons. I like this matchup because it will be a litmus test for both the 49ers and Saints are we bad? Are we improving? And he's not doing this alone. Is Mac Jones? He will have CMC. He will have Brian Robinson. He will have Ricky Parasol, and he will have joining the team Old Faithful Kendrick Bourne on the outside. There is a lot to look forward to if you're a 49ers fan in this matchup against the Packers, or not against the Packers, against the Saints. The Packers are on the brain. Sorry, you guys. I'm still just groveling over Thursday night. Um, but I don't have a lot of faith in this New Orleans Saints team. I hope they give head coach Kellen more than one season to turn this thing around. There's some talent that has to be added to this team for it to succeed. Do I think that the defense is the strong point? Absolutely. Do I think that the offense just needs a little bit of coaching? Absolutely. But they do not get it done in this game. I have this game at 14-10 San Fran.
I like that. I like that prediction. Now moving on over, we got an AFC team. I believe the Seahawks are NFC. Yeah. We got
Seahawks
the
are in the NFC.
Seahawks versus the Steelers, and this one's gonna be a go. Yeah, they are an NFC team. I'm an idiot. They played Tom Brady and the Patriots in the 2016 or 2014 Super Bowl,
14.
15 maybe.
It
Um,
was played February 3rd, 2015.
yeah. So we have an AFC versus NFC matchup here, and the Seattle Seahawks versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, something that I am excited to see, does Aaron Rodgers continue his overwhelming presence in Pittsburgh, or was it just for the Jets game? I say he does. I say he does. I say they get this win as well. Um, both teams were looking pretty good last week. Um, they're relatively similar. The Steelers had 271 yards and the Seahawks had 230 yards. Similar amount of time played, same amount of sacks. The Seahawks had two defensive interceptions. Now, Sam Darnold only had 150 yards, while Aaron Rodgers had 244 with only 37 rushing yards going to the running back. I just see this game going very much lopsided if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy and stay on pace. I see the Steelers winning 34-17. No, 34-21. I'll give Sam Darnold a little bit of respect there. But that is my prediction for that one. What do you think?
I like this matchup more if it is in Seattle. However, they are going to Pittsburgh. I don't think they perform well on the eastern side of the country, especially going against the AFC teams. Um, this rematch from the 2005 Super Bowl does not go well for the visiting team. I think Aaron Rodgers and that offense, all of the pieces, having DK Metcalf now, and that rejuvenated offensive line, and that incredibly stout Pittsburgh worthy defense that always seems to hang around through the 70s and the 80s into the 90s, and it's carried on throughout the past 3 decades. I don't think that the Seahawks have enough star power. They don't have enough firepower. I have a lot of faith in Sam Darnold. I don't have a lot of faith in any of the other rooms on that team. Um, Head coach Mike Macdonald, he has an uphill battle for him in this contest, and I have this game scored 34-21. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they are outmatched. They are outgamed. Aaron Rodgers has something to prove, leaving the Jets, going to an organization with a history of winning. And I think this is ultimately not quite a blowout, but the score will be closer than the game will reflect. I think it's 34-21 Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. I like that. We actually agreed on the score too.
Yeah, I like that score. Uh, but another matchup that I like a little bit more, we're going to move right along. We have the Denver Broncos going to take on Danny Dimes and that Indianapolis Colts team. Where did they come from last week? How do you feel about this one, partner?
Danny Dimes. No, no, no. Danny Demons. Back in the building at home. At some point you just gotta start feeling bad for other teams going against the man. Does Washington play him? I freaking hope not. So we got Danny Dimes going against the one, the only Bo Nix, a kid in his second year, and I have to admit, I think it's another, wash-up game. I do. I think Danny Dimes and that Indianapolis Colts defense takes care of business. Do I think the score will be anywhere near the same that it was? I do not. Um, Now that is given because on that Broncos defense, we both know there's a no-fly zone, and that's in
Yes,
PS2.
that left side of that defense is very no aerial territory. So cutting the
Absolutely.
field in half is going to be huge.
Danny Dimes will not be able to go wherever he wants to, like he did last week. So, to give this game a score, I would say due to their defensive positioning, I think that the Broncos hang around. I do. I think it is more of a score 21-14, a clean, nice game, maybe even 21-17 if they could sneak a field goal in at the end. But that is my given. I think Danny Dimes plays football again.
I like it. I like the faith in Daniel Jones. I like the faith in Danny Demons. I like the faith in that Colts offense. I don't like the lack of faith in Bo Nix, and we're going to differ on this one, partner. We're going to differ on this one. Um, I have this game just based on the talent of that defense alone. I don't see, especially under head coach Sean Payton, very disciplined team. They play their hearts out. They like winning. They have a lot of faith in Bo Nix. I also have a lot of that. The Broncos actually opened this game at 2.5 point favorites, and I am going to take Goliath and not David in this game. So I have this game tightly contested. It's going to be 27-24 in favor of the Denver Broncos, upsetting the Indianapolis Colts in their own building. Daniel Jones is going to ball, but having only half the field to ball on never works well for anyone. Patrick Surtain being out there and a lot of other pieces on that Denver defense, I think, make the world of difference. This is not the Miami Dolphins that they are playing. This is a team that was one win away from the playoffs last season, and with a rookie quarterback, I am high on this offense. A lot of people love this. I love this roster. I think the Denver Broncos start 2-0, 27-24 in Indianapolis.
I like it, man. That's a good prediction. That's our second one that we've really butted heads on. But another one that I think we might possibly butt heads on, and that is none other than the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think will happen in this game? Do you think the Chiefs have changed something around that can pull it off? Do you think the tush push will reign supreme in this one?
I'm going to give you two hot takes here, partner. Two hot takes. The first take, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to go to Arrowhead. And this pains me to say, but that roster is good, and I did not see motivation out of that Kansas City Chiefs team. They are going to go to Arrowhead, and they are going to push the Chiefs to their limits. And they are going to score at least one touchdown with the tush push. But let me reel you back in. Let me reel you back in, and let me tell you why they don't win this game. They don't win this game because I think that they are too comfortable in being what they are. And Nick Sirianni, a notably, notably arrogant coach, I think that the Chiefs have a lot to prove. They definitely do. Their wide receiver room is thin, but they still have a plethora of talent on both sides of the ball. They are at home. It is so hard to win in Arrowhead. So I think that this game, low scoring, like both of their games in week one, this Super Bowl rematch tilts in favor of the runners up in last season's World Championship game. I have the Kansas City Chiefs bouncing back and winning this football game 24-20, the score that the Eagles beat the Cowboys by.
I like it. Now, I am in agreement, and I was thinking we were going to disagree. I am in agreement with you on everything but the score. I have this score 24-21, and that's just in part because that Philly offense, that Philly defense, whenever they're not spitting on people, is pretty darn good. But you cannot forget the man who takes those snaps on the other side of that ball. None other than Patrick Mahomes. Now, if if the Eagles can get their eggs in a basket and they get things going early, I'm inclined to say the Eagles win this game. I really feel like it comes down to who will win, who will take off first, who will have the momentum coming in, who will continue that momentum through the first half. I think that will be your winner. Now, whether that's the Eagles or the Chiefs, I believe it will be the Chiefs just because they have something to prove. They lost to the Chargers last week, and you hate losing to a division team. And currently, they are sitting at the bottom of their division. So I think they have a little something to prove. I think it's 24-21 Chiefs. Are you there, partner?
Oh, I was muted. Oops. But another matchup that I like a lot outside of this Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles is happening in Minneapolis on Sunday Night Football. We have the Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix, and that team that almost upset the Buccaneers traveling up there to take on J.J. McCarthy, Stone Cold J.J. McCarthy, and that lightning in a bottle Vikings offense. How you feeling about this one, partner? How do you feel about the Atlanta Falcons traveling to Minnesota to take on those Vikings?
Look, man, this one, quick, easy, cut and dry. Vikings win. Vikings win this game. There is way too much talent on that Vikings offense for me to think otherwise. I refuse to think otherwise. J.J. McCarthy, uh, Aaron Jones. I mean, you got guys in just about every single position here. And, I mean, who doesn't love Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson? He has weapons, he has a running back, and he himself was voted the leader of this team. J.J. McCarthy, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 143 yards. They win this game um, without a doubt for me. Michael Penix is good. Bijan Robinson also very good. But I think that the Vikings still have the leg up here. I don't even know. I think it's gonna be something like 27-17 for this one.
Very nice. I like it. I like it a lot, and I am very inclined to believe you, and I am going to agree with you as far as winner. Um, I think that JJ McCarthy gained a lot of confidence, especially hitting his first career touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson in the third quarter of that game. I think it meant a lot to him. I think that you have two lightning rod running backs like Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones to aid in your pursuit of another win. You have obviously Jettas. You have a top two, top three wide receiver in the NFL, and a lot would argue he is numero uno. A lot of people would, and I like it. Justin Jefferson is a game changer. Here's what I like about the other side of the ball: that Atlanta Falcons offense is not known for their offensive line, but Javon Hargrave on that defensive line for the Vikings. 2 sacks last week. He had 2 sacks against a mobile Caleb Williams. He knows how to get the job done. He can put pressure up the middle. Also, Joshua Metellus, leading tackler on this Vikings defense from the safety position. I have a lot of faith in the kid. He is a Michigan product, like their quarterback JJ McCarthy. We like the Michigan products. I just think that the Saints are, or not the Saints, the Falcons are outmatched. They really are. No Jordan Fuller, no Younghoe Koo, James Pierce Jr. questionable, Billy Bowman also questionable, DeMarco Hellams also questionable, all on that defense. Um, the big thing that I see being issues for the Vikings, and I don't think that these are not able to be overcame. I think that these are still doable. It's still good goals. That's still a very stout defense. No Jeff Okuda on the outside. He is out with a concussion. No Andrew Van Ginkel, last season's leading tackler. He is also out with a concussion. Now on the offensive line. Here's where the Falcons have a chance to make up some of that ground. It's not going to be enough, though. Christian Darrisaw is out with an ACL and MCL sprain. But the Falcons get, I'm going to say, dominated in this game. We are going to have a 31-21 victory by the Minnesota Vikings. They are not going to take forever to get warmed up. They are going to score early. They are going to score often. And we are going to see not one, but 2 Justin Jefferson touchdowns on Sunday night.
An exciting
But
game to say the least, I must say, playing them in US Bank Stadium. But let's move on to something a little less exciting, a little less fun to talk about. We got the Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals. Now, partner, this is not a game I'm excited for. This is probably not a game I will be watching. I do not like this matchup. I think it's going to be very low scoring and very much a game the Panthers could win. Granted, if they can figure themselves out. But that being said, I'm putting my money on the underdogs, the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young. I don't have a reason for that other than the fact that I do not like the Cardinals for some reason. Um, Go Panthers. I'm saying something around like I said, it's not going to be high scoring. It's not going to be this flashy game. I'm going to say 14-10 Carolina.
I like your enthusiasm and I like the logic. A very formerly arrogant team over there in Arizona. However, I have a lot of faith in head coach Jonathan Gannon. I have a lot of faith in Maserati Marvin Harrison Jr. I have a good bit of faith in that defense with the veterans that they have.
Buda Baker.
I don't see the Carolina Panthers winning this game, especially going to University of Phoenix Stadium. I don't like this matchup for the Carolina Panthers. I actually have them losing in similar fashion. They lose 24-10 to these Arizona Cardinals. That is where I see this game.
I like it. Another game we disagree on. Here's one that I hope we can agree on. Let's move on to the left side of the country. The Los Angeles Chargers versus none other than the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, partner, I want to hear your take on this game.
This is not going to be Geno's Playhouse. They are playing in Allegiant Stadium. They are playing in Las Vegas, but this is not Geno's Playhouse. This is going to be Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen and a very motivated Chargers team going to Las Vegas to play these Raiders. And I think the Raiders win against the Patriots was a gimmicked win. I don't think that they have the talent to hang with this Chargers team. This is a very good Chargers team going against the world champion runners up in Sao Paulo. An away game for both teams, traveling all the way to South America, beating Patrick Mahomes and those Kansas City Chiefs. I like this matchup for the LA Chargers. I see this game taking a 28-21 final score in favor of those Chargers in Las Vegas.
I actually have the same winners and almost the same score. I have 27-21 for this team. I feel like they might miss a field goal somewhere along the line. However, it is hard for me to put away this Raiders team and Max Crosby. But considering that the Chargers have two people that are out, Elijah Molden, who is a cornerback, and one second here, Denzel Perryman, who is a middle linebacker, both of which are on the defense, giving the Raiders a little bit of a leg up. That's why I think they hang into this game with almost a score. I think the Chargers, if this is not the Chargers score, it will be higher. Now, the Chargers have a potential to go for 35 points, um, possibly even 36 if they're feeling frisky. But I have it 37-20 or 27-21 Chargers just because of their few people they're missing on defense.
I like it. But you know what else I like? I like the first half of our Monday Night Football two-parter, that Chargers Raiders game, the second half. The first half is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling out west, right to Texas. They're going to travel to Houston, take on those Houston Texans right there in the eastern side of the second biggest state in our nation. How do you see this game turning out, partner? How do you see this matchup?
Well, Scott, I have two big things here, man. In terms of the game, in terms of yards, C.J. Stroud blew Baker Mayfield out of the water. 188. Well, not really blew him out, but he had 188 yards to Baker's 167. Now, here's the difference. Baker Mayfield had 39 yards rushing on 5 attempts. Nick Chubb had 60. Baker almost ran as much as the running back. So, with that being said, Lavonte David is okay. He is active. He did not participate in practice yesterday. Mike Evans, full participation. He is good to go. So, everyone will be playing other than, of course, Chris Godwin. And you have offensive lineman Luke Godecki, who is out or who is questionable to start. And you have Christian Izien, who is also questionable. But I don't think that's enough for the Texans to come in and give them a run for their money, especially with mostly everyone healthy. I think this is another really good game. I'm calling 21-17. I think it's close. I think that the Texans come in with something to prove, and I think that if you're gonna watch a game on Monday night, it might as well be this one. If you were to watch two, if you had to pick one, I would watch the Chargers game. That one's gonna be a great one. But if you had to pick one, I say it is. If you're gonna watch Monday Night Football, might as well watch them both, right? You still there, partner?
I got you, partner. I got you. So, here is my objection to the Texans hanging around in this game. Yes, starting wide receiver Chris Godwin Jr. is out on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side. The bigger blow, if you ask me, is starting left tackle Tristan Wirfs being off of that Baker Mayfield blind side. He will not be in this game. He is out with knee injury, projected to be back next week. I think that is much more prominent. But here is the big thing. The Houston Texans are missing not one, not two, not three, but four starters off of that offense alone. They are missing center Jake Andrews, wide receiver Christian Kirk, tight end Kate Stover, and Braxton Berrios will not be playing as well. And on the defensive side, on the physically unable to perform list, defensive end Denico Autry, who was a big part of that defense. I I like the Buccaneers in this game. I like the Buccaneers in this game for a couple of reasons. I don't see Derek Stingley being able to stop Mike Evans. I think he gets way too much separation. He is just a force, even in his 12th NFL season. I love the matchups on this, and you're going to hear me talk a lot about this kid this season, you guys. Emeka Ibuka is going to ball out. He had 2 touchdowns in their win against the Atlanta Falcons. I have faith in this kid. I have a ton of faith. Bucky, oh my gosh, Bucky Brooks, I want to say, is the running back's name for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He gets it going. He's going to get going. He's going to run for more than Baker Mayfield. The offensive line is going to play better. The Texans missing Denico Autry is a huge blow, but they wouldn't win this game fully healthy. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to Houston and beating the Houston Texans 27-24.
Oof, 27-24. I like it. And I do believe that is all of the games we have to go over, I do believe. Am
Yes,
I
we have.
missing any?
Yes, we have completed the entire slate of games for this coming Sunday. I hope you guys have a lovely football field Sunday. Like, get out there and enjoy it. Find your favorite team, watch them. If you want to expand your horizons, there's a lot of good games to check out on this Sunday slate of football, both early and late. Any final parting words before we get out of here, my fine compadre?
Man, Scott, as always, dude, it is a pleasure to do this with you. It is a pleasure to be here with our fans, the fans of football, and all other sports who just tune in to listen to what we have to say. Again, just fans of the sport, not professionals. But like he said, if there's something you want to expand your horizons on, please check out a few other games. Some of them we have kind of went over and specifically said this would be a good game to watch. Definitely check out that Philly Kansas City game. Definitely check out that Buffalo New York game, that Lions Bears game, um, and we look forward to Week 3, seeing how Washington can handle themselves. Uh, coming back in hopefully a little better. But as always, you guys are awesome, and we thank you so very much for listening in. I am Corey, and that is Scotty. We are signing off.